so I made a little trip to Orange Show Speedway and I want to try something out. I brought my Pro Car and my S13 Demo Car. Pro Car is in its regular FD trim with a 295 tire, weighs over 3,000 pounds as per the rule book. My S13, I always thought it was kind of lightweight, so I actually put it on scales and moved some things around. I got it to 2,700 pounds, which makes it perfect for the 255 GT radial. Small tire, lightweight car. Which one's faster though? Every time I drive my S13, it feels like a turd slow, right? But sometimes that's deceiving. I looked at data with other things, with suspension testing, and sometimes your butt dyno deceives you. So I'm out here today to try running both cars back to back. We're gonna see which one has more GPS speed, which one has faster sector times on the track, and which one feels slower or faster, which could be deceiving. So pretty excited about running them back to back and really telling if grassroots kind of basic setup on a tighter track like this at Orange Show Speedway could hang with pro cars like my FD car. So let's get in the cars and run them. So I just did 2 runs in my FD Pro Car. I also did 2 runs in my Demo Car. The Demo Car just felt slower, it always does. Even though I had them both gripped up, it just always feels like it's slower pace. This just feels more exciting. Literally, like your eyeballs rattle when you hit rev limiter. It's just a more thrilling ride, so you feel like you're going faster. I'm not 100% convinced that this thing is going faster around the track. There's moments where my S13, I could lay in the throttle and it doesn't step out. It like loads because of the less amount of power, less momentum that the car's carrying. It doesn't seem like it flies off the zones as easy, so you can keep your foot in it. I think the little bit of correction that I have to do in this car, because it's so overpowered for this track, might actually be leaving some time on the table, some speed. So it feels faster, the other one feels slower, but I can't wait after all of this to dive into some data and really see what's what. Interestingly enough, I think I went faster in my S13, but that's the only bit of data I've looked at so far. So yeah, I'm gonna try to put more laps together and then we'll have some good data sets to look at.
Come on. Break it down now, break it down now.
So I came out and I'm doing this test, and you watch me drive. You watch me drive my S13. We tandem all the time with the S13. I brought my Pro Car out. I mean, did you see any of the runs? Which one do you think looks faster? Because I kind of have an opinion, but I haven't looked at the data.
So it's funny because if I plug my ears, the 13 looks faster, but the 15 sounds so aggressive and like trying to kill everything that it makes it look like the 15's way faster. But if you shut off the audio, I feel like the 13 visually looks faster.
Fair enough. I feel like the 13 feels slower. it always looks slower to me, but I don't get to see much video of it. So I'll let you know what the data says, because we're gonna look at it.
I'm very interested. I've always told him like the 13 is so hard to follow, and I don't have a good basis on that, except for we drove at Horsley, and you had your 15 out, and I had no problem chasing you in the 15, and neither did Dayo Shahara. As soon as you switch to the 13, sorry about that, limiter. As soon as he switched to the 13, neither one of us could catch him. So I don't know if it's a weight thing. I don't know if it's just he drives it more reckless because he's owned it for so long. I don't know what it is, but the 13 is fast car.
So these thoughts have been going through my head, chatting with you over the years of us tandeming. That's why I'm doing this right now, testing. So I'll let you know what the data says, which one's actually faster, especially on this track. I think this is a great test bed because you don't need a lot of horsepower here.
Correct.
And having too much horsepower, it almost hurts a little bit.
So I'm interested to see on the run-up because I feel like your 13 was faster on the run-up. So I want to see that data too.
I will say maybe my 13 is faster on the run-up here because a little bit less power than the Pro Car, which allows you to find the traction. It's really hard to find traction, 1,000+ horsepower. Like it's hard, no matter how big the tire is. So I'll let you know.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right. So we're back at the shop and we had a really good time driving. I didn't get as many laps as I wanted to, but the cool part is that I got to do laps in both cars, and I even got to jump back in the Pro Car, which I believe was faster, to give another valiant effort of putting down a really fast run. We have telemetry in my Pro Car. We don't have it in the Demo Car, so it'd be unfair to check telemetry data that it only exists in one vehicle. What we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna review video, and my videographer was nice enough to actually get 4 sectors out of each lap and compare those runs between the 2 different cars. The sectors are using the same exact anchor points on the track, so it's very much a one-to-one comparison. And I can't wait. I have no clue what the results are. I can't wait to watch the videos and see what the sector times are between my Pro Car and my Demo Car. All right, so we're gonna watch the first run, which is in my Pro Car. And to be honest, this run didn't feel that fast. It felt like I was still trying to figure out where the traction is on the track. But looking at sector 1, I was high on the wall where the car needs to be. I wasn't trying to go fast. I was actually putting the car where it needs to be. Sector 2, same thing, deep in the zone. Lots of wheel speed. You could see that through all the smoke. And yeah, times are popping up through sector 3, going through the last sector, which is a long one. So we got times for all sectors in that car. I think the second lap in it is gonna be a little bit quicker, but let's see. Run 2 in the Pro Car. Still super high on the bank. I'm surprised that rear bumper is not scratched up. That was on the wall. Sector 2, going through sector 3. I mean, visually it looks about the same speed as run 1, but I felt like I was carrying more speed on the second run because I was just more warmed up. I knew kind of the limits of where the tire's over flashing versus not. Sick. That was the first 2 runs in the Pro Car. These next 2 runs are kind of going to show me how these cars stack up, because the next 2 are the Demo Car. All right, so this is the first run of my S13. 3rd run overall for the night. So I should be pretty warmed up. I mean, car's up on the wall where it needs to be in zone 1. It's, it definitely doesn't look as exciting as my Pro Car did. And it doesn't feel as crazy when I drive it, even though I'm driving it super hard, but I know that the sounds, the smoke is just not there. It honestly just looks slower to me as well. I think it's because I'm programmed to think it's 27 seconds. Was not expecting that, honestly. Like, I was determined just from the feeling inside the car that, yes, I'm putting a valiant effort into driving the piss out of this car, but I would not say that those runs are the same freaking time overall. That's insane. All right, so this is run 2 in the Demo Car, 4th run overall. someone decided to follow me, and I was like, yeah, no problem, sure. Let's see how this goes. Run up looks solid, like no wheel speed, no wheel spin really. Some corrections on the bank, which should yield a slower bank, but yet I was high. Hucked it into that zone pretty good. Probably decelled a little bit harder there because of that almost backy in there. Transition solid. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, once again, look as exciting, but it's getting the job done. All right, so there's some patterns, some consistency we're seeing here where it blows my mind that it's faster than run 2 in my Pro car, which was 28 seconds flat. And yes, you're like talking about fractions of a second, but I was so convinced that there would be a pretty big deviation here. Yeah, there's so many more variables that could be played with. So far, I'm blown away. So just for giggles, we're gonna see what the 5th run, fully warmed up in the Pro car, is gonna yield. Right now, like, I'm pretty baffled. So yeah, let's see what happens on the 5th run. All right, so this is my last run of the night, and it was in the Pro car. And I'm looking through all this. I'm mainly watching to make sure I'm not deviating from the proper line, because obviously if you cut the line, if you go shorter or shallower, it's gonna be a faster run. But let's watch this run the same way I've been watching all the other ones and look at the total time. All right, here we go. All right, I pedal this car more. It makes more power, so I have to hunt for traction all the time. Whereas the S13, I lay in it and just kind of let the wheel speed do its thing. It's never overspeeding the rear wheels. This run looks great. I mean, it looks aggressive and fun and backfire, smoke, like good angle everywhere. But now I'm second guessing if I'm just driving like a robot. Like all these cars are very, very similar. I'm glad we had this last run because this is faster than run 2. I think run 2 is going to be an outlier. Run 2 was the slowest run of the whole night, and it was in the Pro car, which just shows that might have been like a little bit more hesitation on the bank after initiating, or some variable like that. So this is like showing me the Pro car is not any faster than my S13 on this particular track. Okay, so I think this was a pretty fair test, and the reason it's a fair test is the track that we used, I actually drove here within a month ago. I competed here for a hot pit, so I was warmed up to the track. I consider my driving on this track at this point to be pretty robotic. I think this is a valid test as well because, what's up, Shadow? I know my cars really well. I've driven the S13 a whole bunch. Yes, it makes less power, it's lighter weight, but I know how to deal with that car. And I drove my Pro car a lot, so I know how to deal with that car as well. We have constants that we were working with. We ran the same tire pressure, just 11 PSI on the GT radials. We were using the same GT radial compound. Yes, the tire is bigger on the Pro car. It's a 295/40 18. On the S13, it's a 255/35 18. But it is made in the same factory in the USA. It's the same compound that's approved by Formula Drift. We're following a rule book standard, and we're using the same tire brand and the same tire compound. Even though they're different sizes and the cars weigh a different amount, we're keeping everything within a certain ratio. So I think those constants, my experience on this particular track with these particular cars makes this for a very good, exciting test because it's fair. All right, so Amy stumbled in here as we're taking all this stuff apart and dissecting it, and I think it'd be very valid for her to confirm if my runs in the Pro car were deeper maybe than the runs in my practice car, my S13. And there's no denying the Pro car looks way more exciting. Like,
sounds better.
It sounds better, but is there anything else that I'm missing here?
You threw some good angle in the S13 on that second run.
Okay.
I really liked it. I think that in the 13 on your first run, you came off of the bank earlier, so that is going to make it look faster. Because your second run in the 13 was really high, looked really good, but when you're higher, it takes longer to get around the track.
I think this track just lent itself to this working out. I think maybe some other tracks it would be maybe a little tougher to execute, but on this track, I mean, looking at it now, I would drive the S13 a little bit differently, and I would probably adjust it a little bit differently.
I'm wondering if it was a longer bank, how that would affect the the timing on something longer that's stretched out where you're holding this hot top speeds for a longer duration.
I think the lack of power in the S13 would harm me there, because if I had to correct, I couldn't just flash tire and get back up on top of the high line. But the lightweight, small tire, I don't think is the problem. I think it's the lack of power, which unfortunately I would have loved to have that be a constant, right? To have like the same horsepower to weight ratio between both cars, but we just don't put any effort in the S13. We just run it, and it's got a really tired old motor in it. So here we are, but I think this is still freakishly wild. Yeah. Yeah. I love driving it, but every time I hop in that car, I'm like, this is such a turd of a car. Like, I go in the burnout box, and like, this thing just
it makes you have to drive.
Yeah, it makes me have to drive it hard because it's got no power at all. So yeah, this was great, man. Thank you for looking at this. I know you got stuff going on today, so thanks. So what are my takeaways from this? I think I got 3. I mean, the first one is, what if I put more time and effort into my S13? The times are so comparable. I'll tell you that the S13 hasn't had improvements in a really, really long time. I literally put the car together with hand-me-down parts for my pro program, and we just kind of slap a generic setup in it and just run it. Takeaway number 2, if you're building a car for a track like this, for competition like this, don't build a pro-level car like my S14. I mean, I spent so much more time, effort, and money on that car. For a track like this, for this style of driving, you could literally go as fast and just as good online and check off all the boxes by building a car that's a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the amount of time that you have to spend on building it. You know, take that with a grain of salt. This is for this particular track, for this style of driving. If you go to a bigger track, yeah, you're gonna open up a can of worms with maybe not having enough power, maybe the tire not lasting long enough, so forth and so forth. And the last takeaway number 3 is know your equipment and how to use it, right? Both cars are very, very different from one another. I just happen to know how to drive each one accordingly, but if you were to put some stranger into these cars to do the same exact test, I don't think it'd go very well. I think the times would be very different. So if you have a lightweight car that's underpowered, just know how to take advantage of that, know how to squeeze out all that potential. And if you have a very high horsepower car, just learn how to manage, traction, not overflash tires. You could have really bad performance with a very well-built car if you don't know how to take advantage of all the features in the car and how to temper yourself maybe with a high horsepower car, and maybe not be able to put down the power and use the lack of power as an advantage to create more traction in a lower horsepower car. All right, so that closes out this video. Man, this was kind of like a impromptu experiment, to be honest. I always wanted to do this, and the time and place just happened to line up, and we had the right track, we had the right time, and we went and did it. I mean, honestly, kind of walking away from this whole thing is maybe there's a place for lighter weight cars in Formula Drift that run the smaller tire with a little bit more power than what my S13 makes, with a little bit more dialed lightweight chassis. I don't know, that could be the future. Who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments.